What's up? This is Barstool Chicago. I'm here with my buddies Carl, Eddie. I'm Dante. We're outside JP Graziano's here on Peoria and Randolph in the West Loop on the hottest freaking day of the year, sweating our balls off. We're paying a visit to our buddy Jimmy Graziano. He's going to show us around the restaurant, talk a little bit about it, what they've done to pivot for COVID, and we're going to make some sandwiches, so let's go. Eddie only goes in the back door at places he eats. Like Henry Hill. Jimmy!
What's up, boys? What's up? How we doing? Good. Good to see you.
Thanks for having us.
Eddie? Good to see you.
This is the one and only Jim Graziano. Third generation? Fourth generation owner of JP Graziano's here in the West Loop. We brought...
Appreciate that. Always well received.
So we're gonna get to make some sandwiches today?
Yep.
Oh, pumped.
Yeah, we're gonna slice up some sandwiches.
I'm
Got some
pumped.
bread for you guys.
I'm pumped.
And yeah, it'll be delicious as always. And we'll, tell you the story about how this all came about.
Salud. So, how many years you guys been here?
This past June, we celebrated our 83rd year. My great-grandpa started here June 7th, 1937. What's cool was this is, and not a ton of people know, this was actually my great-grandpa's second spot. His first place was 1376 West Grand Avenue, and he was more like a general kind of corner store. And it was the type of place where, the wife would come, buy the groceries for the week, held her tab. Husband got paid on Friday, he'd come to Friday to the store, pay the tab, rip it down, start all over. That was in the 20s. And great-grandpa actually went out of business during the Depression. A couple years later, 1933, reopened Grand Avenue. And then at that time, he was telling everybody, I want to open up a bigger spot. I want to import. I want to distribute and grow this place. Somebody said on the corner of Randolph and Peoria, the guy's renting out half of his warehouse. That's our old elevator, I'm sorry.
I can see it working here. Look at the gears.
Thought someone was beating on the back door for you or something.
I know, Eddie jumped a foot off the ground. He thought someone was coming for him.
You're safe in here. So the guy that owned the building, he ran his business on the other side of the building. And my great-grandpa came in here, took over this spot, and then they shared upstairs in the basement for their inventory. Gentleman passed a few years later. Nobody in his family wanted to take over. My great-grandpa put a deal in place with his son, said, all the years I've been paying you rent, that's my down payment. I'm gonna pay you XYZ. I would love to know what my great-grandpa paid for this building. Never found any kind of receipt. No, we have no idea what this was originally purchased for in the 40s. Can't imagine it was all that much. Probably back then it was a good piece of chunk of change, but not compared to, current market rate that goes on Randolph Street.
People not from Chicago, tell them this area was all meatpacking, warehouses,
everything like that. So Randolph Street was all your dry goods. Bunch of different ethnicities, but you had fruit and vegetable guys and then dry goods like us, stuff that was in boxes. Lake Street, Fulton, which is the block north, and then 2 blocks north of us, that was all your fish houses, all your butchers.
but no residential over here, right?
Zero residential.
Yeah, so
like
it was-
I don't think anybody would live down here for free if you gave it to them. I mean, it was a very, very rough neighborhood. That might be putting it nicely. It was Skid Row. This is what this neighborhood was referred to as Skid Row. During the day, business like crazy, pallets everywhere, stacked like crazy, trucks in and out, forklifts were up and down this street. You would see a car every so often. If you weren't driving a truck or a semi, you were driving a forklift. When we said open to the public, I always got a kick out of this because we said open to the public. So people would come in here, old school families, 3, 4 women, they were sisters or sister-in-laws, and they would buy 4 or 5 cases of pasta, 3 cases of tomatoes, a forma Romano, but cut up into 20 different pieces, and they would be on their way. Fast forward to late 80s, early 90s, when artists would live in these lofts and stuff like that, kind of just here and there, and people would come in and they'd want a bag of pasta and a 1/4 pound of cheese. And my Uncle Paul would be like, what are you gonna do with a 1/4 pound of cheese? What about tomorrow? What are you gonna use for cheese tomorrow? Because they were used to selling in, if you either bought the whole form or you bought nothing, So that's the experience I had down here. And my job as a kid was sitting on the desk, watching the front door that bums wouldn't come and take cans of sardines and anchovies because they were right inside the door. And I get paid $5 on a Saturday for that, and I was busy all day long. I graduated college in 2005, so I went to DePaul, wanted to get into law and stuff like that, and halfway through sophomore year, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I can't, if I didn't get into the business, it would have ended, you know, after my dad's reign. And he passed way earlier than anybody thought, so it would have been a very tragic ending. And I just felt this, I don't know, man, it was like a magnet pulling me, like, you have to be here. So I finished school, come in, and at that point, that was like the first time I like kind of looked through the books of our store. Once I started looking through the books, I was like, man, this place is not doing well. We're in a ton of debt. Nobody's paying us on the street. We have these loans out. We owe people a ton of money. And instead of getting freaked out, I felt like, this is why I'm here. I feel the fatal flaw of why this place didn't jump from like first to second to third generation of just growing with that is because the guys who were running it, being my great-grandpa, my grandpa, my Uncle Paul, had a very old school way of thinking of stuff. And then when those guys started to die, the new guys just kept doing the stuff the old school way.
What took things to the next level for you guys?
Sandwiches.
Yeah,
This
idea was-
it was me. You know, not like, you know, didn't come up with a huge original idea. To me, it was, let's give them a product that they could take and walk away. Instead of yelling at people for wanting a quarter pounder Romano, let's sell it to them because we can make so much more margin on it. And then let's do sandwiches. There's not a lot of places for lunch down here. There's people all over the place. Now, it wasn't West Loop residents. It was the jobbers and everybody running these businesses. But I just felt, instead of trying to compete out onto the street, let's focus on the very unique thing that we have, get people into the store. Great Grandpa's rules of business were very simple. Buy the best, whatever you can get, buy the best. Get an extra nickel for it. People remember quality long after they forgot the price, and always have a smile on your face.
I love that.
That's it.
That's pretty simple, but
It's pretty simple, but I think it goes a long way.
Big time.
I think it really goes a long way.
Big time.
So then getting into sandwiches, it was like, let's get all this amazing stuff on something that people could take with them, eat quickly, and start to take the business another way.
So did you get this prime real estate space over here to start?
I did. That was my corner. Yep.
How'd you pull that off?
Well, just because that was the only place we had an outlet to plug in the slicer.
Oh, no way.
So it was like kind of by default.
No way.
So the slicer here, this is obviously newer stuff, but the slicer here, the prep table here, and this one table. And that was it. And my dad made the bread holder. My dad did the thing with the stainless steel. We never called people for stuff.
I mean, look at this. This is not like,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is not-
this is handmade. This
Yep.
isn't like from
That's
Sicily.
real. It's real, right? So this is the little corner that I had to work out of, and people would walk in the front door. They'd be like 5 feet past me, and they'd be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm making sandwiches now. You want one?" Yeah, make me a sandwich. Go do business with my dad. By the time he was done with that, he'd walk out. I'd hand him a sandwich, right? And I would do like 50 in a week, and I was like, 50 this week. This is huge. This is amazing. No idea what I was doing, you know? Never in my wildest dreams did I feel that one day I'd be sitting in this place and it would just be a sandwich shop. Like, to phase out wholesale, to get rid of all that, to phase out the business that we were started as, that we were known as in Chicago, it didn't make sense to me. It was just, can we get a stream of revenue that actually works?
How have you guys, with this whole COVID ordeal, how have you guys pivoted to, you know, obviously the walk-up window, which we'll see in a little bit.
Delivery was important because we used to do our own deliveries, right? When my first big order, John Cagney, still a customer of ours, dear family friend, he owned a seat on the Board of Trade when guys actually owned seats on the Board of Trade. And one winter he came in here because we had started like October, November sandwiches. So he comes in Christmas time, which he has since his grandma had brought him in here to buy bacala and inganistrato, all the Sicilian specialties. And saw a sandwich shop. He's like, "Jimmy, what are you doing?" I started telling him about the sandwiches. He's like, "Do you deliver?" I was like, "Absolutely. Never had made a delivery in our life." "Yes, of course we deliver. How could you not?" He said, "I got 50 guys on the floor that order lunch every single day. You want an order for tomorrow?" "Done." He said, "I'm going to call you at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Be there at 12 o'clock. Calls, orders 50 sandwiches. Dante, I'm like,
Yeah, that's a huge order.
that's
I
a
mean,
week.
you're doing 50
That's
a
a
week.
week. call D'Amato's, go get more bread, salami's flying around over here, get the 50 sandwiches made, throw it in my car. I have no idea where the Board of Trade is, man. This is 14 years ago. There's no like pull out your iPhone, checking. I'm driving around looking for the Board of Trade. I finally find him, he's standing outside, and he hands me a week's worth at that time, a week's worth of cash from one order. Give him the box, and I was like, this is what I've been trying to do for years at this point, you know? Never let anything get in your way, right? Just like the delivery thing. Of course we deliver. Like, to me, it's always say yeah, and then hang up and figure out how we're gonna make this happen, right? Never let your customer down. The sandwiches started to make money. 2011, 2012, 4 or 5 years into it. Actually started to turn a profit because I was able to work my volume up. But then I would take that money and I would still be buying wholesale stuff. So I'm literally throwing good money after bad, right? Pallets of tomatoes, pallets of olive oil. If you're making 8 to 10% profit margin on that stuff, you're making a ton of money. And now good luck trying to go collect your money from a restaurant that notoriously they don't pay all that well.
And they aren't doing that well either.
Right. I mean, it was just, there was no flow.
Right.
So deep down I knew I have to stop doing a wholesale business, but it was, am I getting rid of my great grandpa's legacy by shutting off what he started? Like, this is how people know us. But I knew if it was gonna work, it had to be money in and money back into the sandwich shop. So I stopped doing wholesale. Like, never ordered a thing again, like turn it off like a water faucet. Drain down all the inventory.
It's ballsy.
Had to be done. I mean, you know, you gotta make a leap in life here and there, right? And once I did that, this place blew up. Because then it was buy new equipment, get better with all this stuff, right? Hire more people. Everything is expanding, and now I'm rolling with it. And like you said, going all in on sandwiches, and
What the hell just happened to Eddie?
You all right?
Right? Just lost Eddie there. I mean, just sitting here, I'm hanging on every fucking word. Eddie just,
the cayenne pepper?
Good, I'm good, good.
we're laughing.
Wrong pipe.
Looking at the menu. We had lunch from you today.
Wrong pipe. Down the wrong pipe. Oh, terrible.
Never did marketing and advertising, right? It was always word of mouth. Obviously, staying on top of your social channels, which is free, just costs you your time. This was my, like, maybe these guys can get me to the next step. And you sure to hell have, I'll tell you that right now. You guys have helped grow my business like you wouldn't believe. Really reared its head in March, April, and May when I had, I'm telling you, so catering trays is one thing that we do, right? 4 sandwiches, you've seen them before, you guys have all had them before. Bread all day long, into the loop, 5, 10, 8, 20, 30 trays at a time, selling to people in the loop who are having business meetings and stuff like that. March, none. Until very, very recently, what are we in the end of August?
Yeah.
Just started to come back a little bit. The way that these guys pushed my Muffaletta and Giardiniera, TasteRealChicago.com, replaced the numbers that I would do of my catering for 3 months straight. Literally was allowed me to pay my team in full for the 2 weeks that I sent them home right away.
Damn.
That was my only income for 2 weeks straight, and these guys allowed me to do that.
Let's talk about this menu. How did this all come together?
So when we first started, 6 sandwiches, $5.25 a piece, handwritten on butcher paper, taped to the door. That's how we started. Then it was like everything else, man, listen to your customers. You don't have to figure out every little aspect of your business. If you just shut your mouth sometimes, realize you don't know everything, and listen to what everything that's being said around you, they give you all the answers. They really do.
I love that.
Right?
You've rattled off, I mean, you've taken some really big risks and they've really paid off. Have you had any like failures or things that didn't pan out?
So did you ever have like soup in a sandwich? At one point I was thinking about doing soup in a sandwich, right?
Like bread bowls?
Well, no, like on a turkey sandwich. Like, don't laugh at me, Ed.
That was kind of good, though. Honestly, one of the other reasons why I gravitated towards Jim a lot was because, you know, it began as well, too, detail that the local guys as well.
Right.
Grew up in the same area. And so we know a lot of the same spots that we both grew up on. But what do you think about this place? And I've never, no bullshit, heard him put down a place at all. He says every place is a good sandwich. They got a great sausage. They got great. He'll tell you everything. So I really appreciate that a lot. And I'm not kidding too. Just me being a local guy, that's a top 10 Barstool question I get. Period. Is dude, do you really like JP Graziano that much? I swear to you, and I'm like, dude, I swear to you, before they even bought ads, I worked on the street like you said. We'd walk down here all the time. We'd get here a little late, like 4:30, be like, oh, we're out of bread, and it ruined the day. So it's legit.
Now I gotta ask you, COVID, not having the customers in the store, is that easier or harder for you guys? Do you kind of get like a buzz from the people being in here?
It's very easy to work without anybody rolling around in here besides us, but I miss it. And until that window got installed, beginning of July, from March to July, I didn't see a customer. I was buried in the office, on the phone, printing out orders. I was like depressed, man. Like I didn't get to, like that's my favorite part. The sandwiches are great, but talking to people, seeing how they're doing, you know, recognizing faces, that's what makes us who we are, right? That's why we're not just the sandwich shop, we're Graziano's. So once I got that open, I man it, I'm there all day, I talk to every customer, and I'm ecstatic because that's really the interaction that I'm always looking for.
All right, so right here, this is my favorite part of the store. So as you walk in, it's a beautiful day. You get your sub, maybe grab a cannoli. Here's the walk-up window where you pay. You're greeted by Mrs. G. So your day, it's already beautiful, it gets even more beautiful because she's the nicest woman in the world. So if you're, hey Sonny, how sweetie, how you doing? How's your day? How is it outside? It's awesome. It doesn't get more old school than this either, folks. Like, look at that in there. You remember when Christopher gets a stockbroker's license in The Sopranos? That's like Christopher's office. I love this office. If I could replicate it in my home one day, I'd do it. The walk-up window at JP, it's something that's special. It's awesome.
So this right here, Trinacria, that little Medusa head with the 3 legs, that's the Sicilian symbol. That's like their flag. Anytime you see that, that means you're dealing with real Sicilians. So be careful. It's none of this like, yeah, I'm from like northern Italy, but I tell everyone I'm from Sicily. That's like the real deal.
All right, so we are gonna slice up 2 Mr. G's, 2 Italians. I get this question a ton, especially on people's first time. What do I get? We got a lot of really cool, different stuff on the menu. To me, get the most, and this goes for any restaurant you ever go to, get the most basic thing.
All right, I have to ask something.
Yeah.
I've always wondered this. Who's Mr. G named after?
I did.
And why?
So like all the meats and cheeses on it, the marinated artichokes, fresh basil, those were my dad's favorite things. So I wanted to like take all my dad's favorite stuff and get it on a sandwich.
All right, so fellas, let's do this.
We're gonna slice up some subs, guys.
Quick
Anything
question,
you want.
just out of like a support standpoint, like no stools, no backs, nothing for like, you couldn't just sit here with like a back stool and slice meat. You gotta be on your feet the whole day. Like,
Yeah.
there's no stools.
You never met my father.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's sitting down.
Just saying, like, you know, my little lower back issues.
Sit
or something.
down.
Graziano.
Yeah, you get lower back issues. You want to take care of your family?
Can I ask you
Your
a
back's
second-
gonna
can I
hurt.
ask you a second question to have your attention? Big Chicago things are throwing S on the end of it. So it's JP Graziano, but colloquially, I can
Yes.
never say that word.
Yes.
JP Graziano's, like I see on the t-shirt, we've got the apostrophe S. So like, how does that work with
These
the
are
S
the
in
cool
Chicago?
kids. These are my guys, the Times. They're not far from over here. We did Complex Con together last summer. These guys are like cutting edge, every cool new thing, marketing, advertising. They're all over it. We've got to be really good friends because they like the old school style and the sandwiches. So we did a collaboration for Complex Con last year, right? It's funny that you mentioned with the sandwich. So he's like, we're gonna do some shirts, like our name, your name. I'm like, oh, it's great. So they come up with the shirts, they show me this shirt, and I'm like, guys, it's great. You messed up, the thing's upside down. And they're like, no, this is what we do nowadays. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll just roll with it. But yes, because everybody calls it JP Graziano's or JP's. When I say we slice every sandwich fresh to order, I mean we slice every single sandwich. I don't care if it's 2006.
No,
and we
look,
made
there's
10.
no,
No, we're
like,
done. We're done.
Meat's not like stored anywhere
No,
on paper
nothing.
or anything. Like you come in and order, they slice it right in front of your face.
So everything started out as like, how do we make it more efficient? How do we make it better? If you need me to slow down, let me know.
No, you're fine.
Just kind of working the speed here.
Why 4 slices of salmon, or how's that work?
Because that's what fits top to bottom, 9-inch sandwich, 10-inch deli sheet. Yeah, not, you know, it's not like
Don't
some-
know. Don't ask, don't know.
What's that, Jim?
Genoa salami. So we do 2 types of salami on ours. Volpe Genoa salami. That's the first one that goes on.
Tell our stu-nods out there that don't know the difference. What's the difference?
So Genoa salami is going to be aged longer, usually more black pepper, and usually good amount of white wine inside the salami. That's where you get that really good taste from. Now this is the hard salami. I would call this more like of a summer sausage. This is the crowd pleaser.
That's a Chicago thing, by the way. Summer sausage is
Calling
a
it summer
Chicago.
sausage?
Yeah, that's a Chicago thing.
It's funny because it's true. It's easy to laugh when it's true. Can we get camera guy with just a little slam with just a
Oh,
little
yeah.
taste?
And then you come in with the hot coffee cola. Usually have to explain to people that hot coffee cola really isn't all that hot. They call it hot because it separates it from the mild. Now, this is what Dante was talking about with the sharpened ported provolone.
Give me a slice
I mean,
of that by itself.
you could smell it coming off of the slicer.
This is cheese.
What is this?
That's sharpened ported provolone.
This is real Italian cheese.
How do you sharpen it?
This isn't Wisconsin
Age.
bullshit.
Age, sharp.
The best provolone in Chicago by far. Sharpest. Everyone says they have sharp provolone. No one has sharp provolone. Unless it like hurts your gums.
It needs to tingle your tongue.
What? Why does it do that, by the way?
Aged. It's aged for, this is aged for almost as long as prosciutto. So it's almost like 2 full years that it's aged.
See, now you can tell real sharp provolone from bullshit.
All you gotta do is smell it.
Yeah, but
It doesn't.
I do the gum test. So if I feel it like it bites your gums, it's hard to describe.
Yeah, you need
But
a
that's
tingle.
how I know.
It needs to bite
And
you.
that-
It needs to bite you back.
In your sandwich, your Mr. G sandwich with that imported provolone,
No doubt.
lights out.
Yep, I
Lights out.
appreciate that. I love that you noticed something like that. Prosciutto. Notice the first thing you do, slice thin, right? Go down a couple numbers. Prosciutto, the old school saying in Italian is you need to be able to read the newspaper through the prosciutto. Capicola is the last thing that gets put on in Italian. On the Mr. G, the super size, the last thing you put on the Mr. G. The pepperoni, that's the last one you do for the spicy.
Now, why is that?
Because then this guy slices, this guy makes it. These guys don't need to talk. They're talking by saying the gabagool's on top, that's an Italian. The superside's on top, that's a Mr. G.
So,
Right?
communicating without communicating.
Now, why do we only make 9-inch sandwiches? Because D'Amato makes 36-inch loaves of bread. You make 4 9-inch sandwiches per loaf.
If I like the end, can I put that in the order? If I look at you
I
behind the counter and
can't
I
tell
go,
you how many people request the end
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
and leave the end on. And it's usually more old school Italian guys.
They leave the end out because they think you're cutting it off for them, but you're like, no, you're just getting the middle. Of the
You
loaf,
could just be getting the middle
Like,
of
you're
the loaf.
really.
But when, I mean, there's a guy named Michael, swear on everything. Everybody in my store knows you have to make his on the end of the bread.
What does the bread mean to you when you're making a sandwich?
Great question. The absolute cornerstone of our sandwich. If I did everything the same way, slice it fresh, I don't care what you put on top, everything else could be here. If this wasn't D'Amato's bread, our sandwiches would not be our sandwiches.
I have a confession.
Period.
I have a confession to make.
Go for it.
So, my sister loves to break my balls about this. She followed me out here like 10 years ago. She found you, only place she would go. I was a Bari guy.
I get
for
it.
a while.
I was a Bari guy. I still am a Bari guy.
Until they dropped the D'Amato's bread.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. I don't
And-
want to get, yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
You don't have to say it, so I'll say it.
Yeah.
Huge
But
mistake.
I gotta say.
Huge mistake.
Probably can't do that.
It's a bad move.
And
It's bad.
now I'm JP Graziano's till the coffin drops, and she hates me for it. She's like, I was telling you since day one.
So I'm gonna make a Mr. G, and then you guys can each make a sandwich. I'll walk you through the other ones. So first thing on the Mr. G, we're gonna make it on the end. Hot oil. This is from our giardiniera. I wanted to find a way to add heat. Some people didn't dig the chunky giardiniera. Also eventually led into why we do the muffaletta. So just a little bit of hot oil. This is the truffle vinaigrette. This was like my contribution to the Mr. G sandwich, something I started making at home.
Truffle sells.
Truffle
Put the
sells.
word truffle on anything.
It moves.
Sells.
It moves. So now this is the big thing. You always have to have your bottom pieces of bread on the left. Every time, every single time, right? We have to make these fast. You always know where your top piece of bread is, you always know where your bottom piece of bread is. Because you take your bottom piece of bread, put it on what you just sliced. I know it's a Mr. G because super sad's on top. Flip it over, bam, Sandwich is 95% done. Okay? Fresh basil, brighten it up. Marinated artichokes, right down the center. I don't like a sandwich where you get the vinegar and they go like this, right? Because this bite has vinegar, that bite has vinegar, doesn't have vinegar, this has a ton of vinegar, that has a little bit of vinegar. I want a nice consistent taste. And I promise, I don't mean to sound silly, I really kind of like had a dream about how this could be made.
I've eaten your sandwiches, and I definitely believe you.
Turkish dried oregano. People are gonna hate on this. Italian and Greek is way too bitter. Turkish oregano is the best oregano you can get. And crush it, right? There's essential oils in here. Release the oils.
I feel like you're giving away
It's okay.
secrets right now.
Make them. Go for it. Mike, hold out both hands. Hold out both hands. All that oregano. Smell that. This little pinch.
Give me a whiff. Give me a whiff.
Now crush that and look how little that is. Now smell that.
Holy shit!
It's like a different spice, right?
Yeah.
Then red wine vinegar. Turkeys and Americans get plain lettuce. This one gets the dressed lettuce, right? Essentially, we made a salad before we put it on the sandwich. So we're done. We're done. We sliced our meats and cheeses. Hot oil, truffle, basil, artichokes go on this side. Dress your lettuce, put it on the sandwich. Flip it over, make sure end and end.
Look
Don't
at
give
that.
me the end top over here, the bottom end over here. And then it's not a mistake that we cut them on a bias, right? Cut it like that. It makes a very nice, easy first bite. That's the Mr. G. Okay, who wants to make the other Mr. G?
I'll make the other Mr. G.
All right, Michael.
Okay. So the
Yellow
bottom,
bottles, the hot oil.
bottom's on
always going to be on your left.
Now, do I do hot oil first,
Yep.
or do I go about? Okay.
No, hot oil first. One strip down the center. Don't get crazy. Not too hot.
All right.
Because they might be adding hot giardiniera.
Be honest, is that too hot?
No, that's all right.
Okay.
I go one strip down. Now truffle. This one right here.
Trouble, and this is a little bit more side to side.
That's more side. Now fill the bread. I want them to have that in every bite. Get in there.
Oh, that's bad.
It's okay. Overhand it. You're underhanded.
Oh, fuck.
Overhand. You'll have more control.
Now, why do you go both
like a
sides
slider
on
grip.
the truffle and only one side with the oil? Just because?
It's delicious
Yeah.
and it's not hot and it's not going to blow your. I mean, if I loaded that up with hot oil,
I'm not getting hired. Look at this. I'm not getting hired with this distribution.
We would talk. We would talk.
Everybody
First day. Everybody
Okay.
has the first day.
Now the bottom is
you
gonna
know it's
go-
on your left. You ain't got to think about it.
And
You're
this
gonna
is
flip it right on top.
right on top here.
Top to bottom. Right. Now.
Okay.
Yep. This hand, flip it over.
This hand, flip it over like this.
No.
Oh, fuck.
Use two hands. Put this hand here. That hand in. Now just flip. Okay.
I mean,
It works as long as we get it.
guys. Listen,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
nervous.
I get it.
It's like, dude, I'm like taking batting practice with Babe Ruth right now.
Take
Excuse
it up.
me.
Put it over there. This is garbage.
Throw this
Okay.
out.
Awesome.
Okay, they're probably just. This is so
Yeah,
fast.
they do it fast.
Okay, now I'm gonna take my basil.
Basil first. Basil goes on the top because it sticks to the truffle. Then it's not going to slide up.
And the reason we like the basil is because it offsets the acidity of all these Italian meats.
Freshens it up.
Okay, it's a bright. Did you say Brighton?
Brighten.
Brighton.
Brighten
It's a Brighton.
flavors.
Okay.
And my father loved it.
Okay.
Marinated chokes. You want 3 or 4 right down the
Right
center.
down Broadway.
Yeah,
Okay. And if it goes on here, I can.
it's
I
okay.
can
You got
jimmy it
gloves
like
on.
that.
That's right.
And then I'm just
Perfect.
gonna. I don't
Give
have
it a
to.
little,
Okay,
give it
I'm
a
gonna
little,
give it a
give it
little
a
just because I
little.
want to. And then just like one.
Yeah, and you could use this hand as like a kind of a guiding
Okay.
hand.
Yeah, I shouldn't be just doing like one.
There you go.
Okay.
Good. Good. Let's straighten yourself up a little bit.
You're right. I'm
All
sorry.
right, a little bit of lettuce over here. It's okay. This is not a test. It's still going to be tasty. Now, top of the bread on. Yep. Now
With
we're
the
gonna cut it on
same
a
hand
bias.
on
Watch
a
your
bias.
fingers.
What do you think? 45 degree or 50? Oh,
Yeah, right there. That.
fuck that up.
Don't worry, you didn't do anything. Look how nice this is going to look. I still guarantee. Show the camera how nice that looks.
Oh my! Look, this half's so much better. This half's so much
Okay.
better.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. We don't walk around and be like, who had this, who had that.
Oh, never.
Ever. Guy in a blue hat had the Mr. G.
And you guys are all talking like, "Hey, blue
So
hat,
this
Mr.
guy,
G."
well, this guy communicates with this guy.
Okay.
Hey, table 1,
Yeah.
guy in a blue hat has the G. I don't care what this sandwich is, as long as we know one.
Yeah.
Right? And then in front of you, facing this way, because you're probably going to take a picture, put it on Instagram, Mr. G. And then the other guy, here's your sandwich, sure, enjoy.
The amount of thought that goes behind. I mean, there's a reason that you come here and then you go top 50 restaurants in the United States.
That was a good one.
And then you're like, how does a sandwich shop in the West Loop of Chicago get on there? It's because this guy's sitting over here going,
That was a good one.
listen, I'm telling you for a second. This is how you put the sandwich down in front of a customer. I mean, what are we even talking about here, man?
Well, I mean, if you ordered this and I put it in front of you like this,
Yeah, I'd be rattled.
just how do you want to be treated when you go somewhere? That's a lot what I tell the guys who work for me. How do you want to be treated when you go out? How do you want to be spoken to? How do you want things put out in front of you? Do that. Give them the same experience. Okay, you guys are making Italian. Ed,
All right, what's up?
this is the regular oil, so we're gonna grab that. This is what you're gonna work with.
All right, not like that.
Overhanded.
Not like
There.
that rookie, Carl.
Both sides of the bread get the oil.
Both sides. We're doing strips, though, right?
Yeah, ish. This one you could be a little bit more.
A little bit more.
There you go. Other one.
Good?
Good. My man. Done with that.
All right.
Over here. Bottom piece of bread's always on our left, right? We know that. We
Left.
take that and we put it right on top of it.
Bam.
Oh man. However you want to do it, flip that over. Use two hands. Get in there. Well, not everything.
Not everything?
No, not everything. We're just making one, right? So I would like hold this, take this, give it a little flip,
All right. So all right.
right?
It's like a sticker.
It's like a stick, right?
Yeah.
Tomatoes. If you like tomatoes, Eddie, you're making yours no tomato, right?
I'll do tomato.
My man.
We're doing it.
Throw 3 on there.
There we go.
Getting a little low on lettuce, so we're going to take a little bit more. Give me a pinch of oregano.
Into the regular lettuce, right?
That's the regular lettuce into this one.
Okay,
Pinch of oregano. Crush. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Crush. A little bit more oregano. Crush it as you're putting it in there. Get it all the way over. Yeah, my man. Pastorelli red wine vinegar. Overhanded. Give me a couple. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. My man. Good. Mix it up. Perfect. Your left hand can serve as a guide hand if you like. Get a thing and just start layering it down the side.
On the tomato side?
Yes, sir. Boom. Cut it on a bias. Sometimes it's easier to get your hand over it, so you got the second one. All right.
Little off.
Oh.
I didn't love my cut.
It's gonna look good. Check it
Think
out.
so?
Yeah, let's
all
check
right.
this one
I
out.
thought I went too big on this side.
No, you're all right. Let's check that out. That looks good.
Good shit.
Good shit. All right,
you go.
Dante. You're
All
up.
right. So you did all the heavy lifting already, right? That's
Yeah,
for the
that's the
Mr.
hot oil,
G.
regular oil. Yep. What? Bottom's on your left.
I soaked your
all
oregano
right.
on accident. All right, so we're going.
Yep. Flip it over. That's my guy. Perfect. Tomatoes. We're good here on the lettuce. We got Eddie mix it nice and good flavor on there. And then if you want to top it off with the hot giardiniera or any kind of muffaletta, what's a good move to make?
Yeah, I'm getting that muffaletta.
Yeah. What's a good move to make is now let this be your backboard and then go down the center. Make sure you drain it off. You don't have to drain it off a ton, but you want to drain it off.
This is giardiniera. This is what he starts with. There you go. So we got cauliflower, olives, serranos,
Yep.
carrots,
red pepper,
celery,
green bell pepper.
celery, green bell peppers.
You're done. To make giardiniera, it goes through a process of sitting in vinegar. That's what pickles the peppers. If you get giardiniera from Italy, it does not look like this. Huge, rough cut, just packed in vinegar. Chicago Italian style, then rinse that vinegar off and then pack it in oil. The oil is really just to preserve it.
Got it. So then you had the idea to take this and make it kind of like a relish.
This muffaletta sandwich.
Right.
Like I said, I couldn't find a muffaletta mix that I liked, so I was like, I'm gonna make my own. But then that forced me to only sell the muffaletta sandwich on Fat Tuesday because it would take one guy a lot to make up. I mean, now I get a 5-gallon bucket, so we sell it whatever you want. So I could only make as many sandwiches as I had peppers for.
Right.
Then I finally took what I was doing, I sent it to my giardiniera guys, I said, can you match this? They did. Now I get it in 5-gallon buckets, and it's muffaletta all day long. So this is
the best. He sells them in little deli containers.
2-ounce cups for a side, and then
I mean-
16-ounce retail.
I mean, dude, you should jar this and sell this in stores.
That's a
It
good
is-
idea.
No, I'm telling you. It is. No.
Good even spread right down the center, so you get the flavor right throughout the whole thing. Watch them kicks. Yep. That's how you hold it to slice it. So then you're in control.
Oh,
Look at that.
Ho ho ho.
We just knocked out 4 JPG subs, man.
Phenomenal. Cannot thank you enough.
Thank you. Boys,
There it is.
so
JP
that's the Italian
Graziano's.
with the hot muffaletta for you.
Now this is a sandwich. Also, pro tip for everyone out there. What did I tell you last time I came here?
Never let you leave without a cannoli.
I'm telling you, I never thought I would have a better cannoli in the United States than Mike's Pastry in Boston, which I know the haters are gonna tell me Mike's is Fugazi and Modern's the real deal. I'm a Mike's guy. Until I had Jim's cannoli, holy shit.
Yeah.
So I thought these were maraschinos, they're not. What's on the end of these?
Armorena, this is like a graduated, more sophisticated maraschino cherry. This is called an Armorena cherry.
Oh,
It's a
they're...
wild cherry from Bologna candied in a syrup. And then
See, this is why I love you. You know, you really know your shit.
this is the business I grew up in. Like, how do you find the absolute best stuff, right? So that's always been a very fun part and like one of the passions of mine to go source the best stuff. And now I get to put the best stuff on something that I sell direct to consumers. And when I hear somebody like and kind of get excited about what we do, I know that I'm doing my job the right way.
So what are we working with here?
So, like I said, Il Giardino, I get the shells and the filling, and to me, it's the most important thing is that they're absolutely all filled, fresh to order. You will not get a day-old cannoli in my store. It's simple, man. Straight up cannoli filling, garnish it with the Armorena cherry, keep it fresh, and it's going to be delicious.
Love it, man.
You see how that oil party here on the end? Cheers, Bill. Now, typically you'd save the end for last, but this is my third sandwich here. I'm going right into that. So
All the rules are out the window at this point.
we spent a lot of time about how simple your business is. Hey, I'm just making sandwiches. Hey, I'm just doing this. Hey, my mom's sending me. Hey, I'm doing this. But if you really think about the core competencies behind making a sandwich and what goes into this and a great experience, it's not fucking different. If you were an engineer, a lawyer, the mayor of Chicago, running a fucking baseball team, it's the same fucking principles. I remember you told me one time, you don't have good days, you don't have bad days, you just have days.
Yep.
And that's a goal, though. You
Yeah.
don't wake up and do
No,
that.
no,
That's something
no.
you work towards through your whole life, is I'm just going to have fucking days.
Right.
So to get to a process, whether it's a fucking sandwich, we're selling vacuum cleaners, we're down there doing personal injury law cases at the Daily Center.
Yep.
The process, the commitment. How do I simplify things? How do I take the emotion out of it? How do I commit myself to something I can repeat day in, day out, give people a good experience? There's a reason it's a fucking #1 sandwich in Chicago.
My parting thought, don't forget about the bread.
Can't forget the bread. I'm gonna stop eating.
Especially in this city. Jim, cannot thank you enough, man.
Thank you.
Awesome. I thought that was quite cool. Awesome day. Keep up the good work, and good luck through the rest of this COVID shit.
I
Hopefully-
appreciate it. We love you guys. Thanks for the
Any
support.
parting
Thanks for the
messages
love.
to Stoolies out there?
You know, I love you guys. Barstool's introduced us to a ton of you, and you come here, you're excited. I love to hear that Eddie sent me, or I heard you at, you know, on the Red Line Radio, anything like that. Just keep it real, man. We try to keep it real. You guys do the same, and the love and support, it means everything. It's this is more than just a business. This is our livelihood. This is what, you know, runs our lives, and you guys are why we're able to keep on doing it. So thanks for the support. Keep coming. Tell me about all those stories with Redline and Dog Walk. Tag us on Instagram and Twitter. I love talking back to you guys, and you know, you make me laugh. I might send you out a box of peppers. Thanks so much.